Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick here. Hope everybody who's watching this is having an unbelievable day. I hope up until this point you've had an unbelievable year. And if you're watching it, I hope that everything that you have set out to do, you've accomplished. If not, if you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. You know, that's one of my mantras. Look, I've been telling you guys about the Legacy Wealth program for months. It's something that was actually created years ago. And I've only worked with a few people, select few people, on getting it really, truly fine-tuned. Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick. Hope everybody's having an unbelievable start to your year. We're in February. Everybody's starting to kind of get acclimated to whatever it is that you have set out to do. I hope that you're on your path to it. And I want you to understand that challenge is a part of the equation. It's a part of the process. Delay, resistance, setbacks, and all that's a part of the thing. This is a game of endurance. This is a game of perseverance. This is a game of sitting up and fixing your eyes on the prize, the promise, whatever it is that you believe you deserve in this life. And it's saying that no matter what happens, I'm not giving up. No matter what happens, I'm not quitting. No matter what happens, I'm going to press on. It's the people who are persistent and committed to going the distance that win. It's not the ones that get the fastest start. It's not the ones that are spoon-fed opportunities. It's not, I don't care what opportunity you're given. If you don't seize it, if you don't stand on it, if you don't work it, if you don't push through it, it will not produce the fruit that it was set to produce. I don't care how many obstacles are put in front of you. If you refuse to quit, there's going to be a clear result that is in direct alignment with the amount of effort, the amount of commitment, the amount of passion and intent that you put into something. So don't quit. Don't give up. If you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. Well, hey, look, it is Wealth Building Wednesday, one of my favorite days. I love talking about things that have long-term impact, and there are a few things that are going to impact your life the way that having financial security can. Again, living in your purpose, to me, being the person you were designed to be, is the ultimate. It's going to sustain good moments, bad moments, and that includes financial upturns, downturns, difficulties, setbacks, all of that. If you're walking in your purpose, there's going to always be something that you have that lifts you, because you're walking in a divine, destined direction. And so, but trust me, when you are financially secure, things are a lot better. So Mondays are Money Mondays. That's about how you generate revenue. Wealth Building Wednesday is what you do with that revenue. I have in creating the Legacy Wealth Academy and being able to effectively write The War on Black Wealth, I consulted some unbelievably brilliant minds in the area of wealth building. I've been very good in my life in the front end of it, in generating it, but I've had some hiccups and frustrations in doing it. And one of the simple principles that several of these people told me was, it's not what you generate, it's what you keep and what you do with what you keep. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to also encourage you to look into the description box. There are some unbelievable opportunities to generate multiple streams of income through online businesses, whether you take the 7-day online business course, online business launch course, and do it yourself, or if you hire my company, Myriad Business Solutions, to do it for you. There's a way, but also there's an opportunity to enroll in the Legacy Wealth Academy program, which is a 6-month program. We may have to extend it because it's intense, but the reason I shorten it is because most of us are in a situation where we need to be acting now. We don't have 2 and 3 and 4 years. That the longer you go, the further you put back. It's almost in a situation where now our lack of action is being multiplied and doubled down on. It's compounding. So for every day that we don't take action, we're losing a week. And so when we look up, we lose 4 years. We're losing a lot of time. So what do we need to do? We need to be able to take action. So I condensed it to see how many people we can get to take it and then start moving and then start teaching people in their family and getting people acclimated. And it's so much to do. And then there are processes that are outside of the principles and the strategies and the vehicles and all the other stuff that we talk about. But it comes here, and that's the biggest turn. That's the biggest challenge. When you've been ingrained to act and behave and spend in direct opposition to your values, your interests, and your principles without even knowing that you're doing it, then that's the biggest thing. So I created that. Right now, I said last week I said we were going to go up to the new price of $1,500. I've kept it under $1,000 for another week. But I'm encouraging you, if you want to develop, first of all, an understanding of how you're going to move your family forward, it's there. To develop the capacity to literally teach other people how to do it and make a living doing it, it's there. That's how powerful this course is. It's going to change you. And so now, go to the description box and enroll. But let's talk real quick. Again, I've always been entrepreneur minded, so I'm always learning ways to increase who I am and my capacity and my value in a number of different industries. I've done international relocation. I've done things in the music industry, in entertainment in general. Matter of fact, I converted the Odyssey Entertainment into the Odyssey Media Group, which is publishing and media and PR and all that. And the other was the community, the Odyssey Project, the community work I do. I converted those. I've done things in logistics. I've done things in, obviously, the field of psychology, which is my passion, my purpose, my thing. But man, fitness, my first business, as a matter of fact, was a fitness company called Stay Fit Fitness and Training. It still exists. It's still an active business, but now it's Master Fitness 21. I don't do any personal training anymore. I write in programs. I do research. I'm doing that type of thing, but I have connections to some of the top trainers in the world, to some of the top nutritionists in the world. And so all that stuff's there. So that's never been my problem. My problem is that still was this mindset that when you get it, you floss with it. When you get it, it's about what you can buy with it. And I understood investing to a certain extent, but I didn't understand the mindset behind wealth building. Investing is a mechanism or a vehicle. Wealth building is the goal. And so when you sit up and talk about, well, I'm investing, I'm gonna put a little money into a company here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But if you don't understand the purpose for which you're doing it, you'll still end up taking it. Even if you win in the investment, you'll find a way to blow the money in the investment because you haven't learned that the investment is about growing and expanding, not getting more money to spend. And so when I started interviewing these people, like to write the book, The War on Black Wealth, and to create Legacy Wealth, which I created a number of years ago, I had to talk to a number of people, and it took years to track people down that wanted to talk. But here's the crazy thing about it. And this is what blows my mind about why so many of us don't have the knowledge. Wealthy people talk about it. Now, there are those that keep things secret and they keep it held back, but they keep it held back from the willfully ignorant. What do I mean? I have yet to go to a extremely wealthy person. I'm not talking about people that's just over the threshold of whatever you want to call rich. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people that you look at and you look at them and they're good. I have yet to go to them and talk to them and seek information from them, and they go, "No, you need to call me, or you need to schedule this, or you." It's like they can't wait to tell you. But what they're not going to do is chase you down, look you down, tackle you, and make you listen to them. They like talking about why they were successful. They like giving that. And me being Black, me having tattoos, me wearing caps and hoodies has never stopped. The conversation is engaging. The conversation, I've never been treated with a condescending attitude. I've never been treated like, hey, I'm bigger, I'm better than you. It's like, hey, I'm excited that you asked me that question. Let me tell you something. But the thing that I was told right out of the box about one of the most common themes that I was told out of the people that I've talked to is that it's not about how much you get, it's how much you keep. You can go out there and you can have the best front end you want to have, but if you don't have the proper focus on what you're going to do with it after you get it, you are going to consistently have problems. And this is why there's this common saying, and it's 100% true, that the average millionaire will go broke at least 3 times. And it's because they've mastered the front end. They know how to generate mechanisms that will create money. The problem is they haven't mastered the back end, how to keep it, how to protect it, how to use trust, how to invest using insurance, how to invest and protect their assets with insurance. All of these different things that you will learn in the Legacy Wealth Academy. But here's the thing. In an economy like the one we live in, and I'm assuming that the predominance of the people who are going to be watching this are people who are in the U.S. So we're going to talk primarily about the U.S. economy, but we should be keenly cognizant of the global economy and different things that influences global market movement, and we'll get into all of that different in different segments and episodes down the line, and it's definitely covered in detail in Legacy Wealth Academy. But hey, so we're talking primarily here. So what we have here is you have to understand something. Up until 1971, the US dollar was on the gold standard, meaning that you could only print as much money as you had gold to back it. So whatever the value of gold was at that time, you could have that much of your currency flowing through the market, whatever gold you had on hand. Now, there's this thing where you go back 1971, so you go back about 40 years, and there was the Gold Confiscation Act, where the government actually took people's gold. And this was a part of the process leading up to this. They were creating a fiat currency so that they could dominate and control who had the wealth, where the wealth went, and everything like that. And you'd be surprised at all the things that happened before that. That was no IRS before 19, what was it, 19, I want to say 1909, 1911, somewhere up in that, 1913, I believe. And it was created, IRS was created right around the same time that the Federal Reserve was created, which isn't really a federal, never mind, I'm not gonna get into all that. We talk about all that in the Legacy Wealth program. But here's the thing. So we go through the Gold Confiscation Act. The Gold Confiscation Act is where they literally demand that all citizens turn in the gold, and they made exceptions. Guess who they made exceptions for? Certain wealthy people. But you had to turn in your gold. It was the Gold Confiscation Act. What they would do was seizing the gold, and this was giving power to the dollar, but they were going to ultimately end up in a place where they needed to print more money than they had gold. So they took the dollar off the gold standard. Now, what's backing the dollar? The economy's backing the dollar. Sounds crazy, right? Well, here's how the economy is backing the dollar. The economy is basically what you would call a debt-based economy. The economy is driven off of convincing consumers to buy more stuff than they have money to buy, therefore accumulating debt. Now, guess what has the value? The debt. That's why you can sit up and you can buy a home, and before you even pay your first note, you're getting a letter or an email that says, we are now your mortgage holder, your lien holder on your home. You will pay us. It's not the company that gave you the loan. It's a different company. What? That company is totally investing on a front end basis. You got mortgage companies out there that all they do is they write the deal. They give the loan. Now, when they give the loan, what they're doing is immediately selling the paper. That's a term that's used in the business. They're selling your paper. What are they doing? They're selling your debt. Your debt has value. And for a long time, people and businesses and countries outside of the US was buying US debt. Matter of fact, at one point, China owned about 1/3 of the US debt. From what I've understood, they've sold a lot of it over the last 5 to 7 years. But again, we're talking about a debt-based economy. So what's the problem with a debt-based economy? Number one is it requires people to spend what they don't have. How long do you think you can consistently do that before people are running out of credit? People don't have. And so what happens is you're going to have a flip side of that. The value is consistently being devalued. It's not worth, it's probably lost 70% of its value since 71. So that's why you can go into the store today and go shopping and get $100 worth of groceries, and it doesn't buy 1/3 of or 1/4 of what it used to. I went into the store not that long ago, and I remember going shopping, um, you know, a while back when me and Mary, I used to go shopping with grocery shopping with Mary all the time. So we would go in and we could fill our basket up about 7 years ago. Fill our basket up, $200. I can literally go spend $100 something in the grocery store. Me and my grandson, we're just traipsing through the store. I mean, enough to put just in that little section where you stick your kid at. $100, $96. I'm like, huh? Inflation. But this isn't the inflation they taught you about in economics in high school. That inflation was based off of supply and demand, where there's a higher demand than there is supply. The cost of what you're demanding goes up because it's a rarity. That's why supposedly diamonds are so expensive. They're rare. Actually, they're not rare at all. They're in abundance. They just keep a limited supply out so that they can give the appearance of rarity, so that they can charge a whole lot of money for something that's in extreme abundance. And that's just one way that the global economy works. And but here in the US, you're talking about a situation where you're constantly being gassed to spend. If you watch, almost every holiday has been highly commercialized, and it's all around spending money. You can look at let's start with the holidays. Let's talk black dollars just for a second. Predominantly, everybody watching this is predominantly black. I'm almost certain. So let's talk black dollars. Between October 30, October, the last week in October leading up to Halloween. So the Halloween holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas, blacks spend 560, 70 billion dollars every year. 40 something billion for Halloween, another 50 something billion for Thanksgiving, and 450 something billion for Christmas. That's $500 billion that we spend just in that. Then right after that, we get through January, because let's count New Year's as December. So we because that we party on New Year's Eve. So, but Valentine's Day, February. March, St. Patrick's Day. And you'd be surprised how many of us get on that green bandwagon on St. Patrick's Day. Then you got April, Easter, May, Mother's Day, Memorial Day. June, you got Father's Day. July, you got Independence Day. Then you roll around the end of August, and right at the first week of September, you got Labor Day. And then guess what? Here comes Halloween next month. And we do this over and over again, and that's this constant push. Now, it's not just happening to us, but we're the ones that can least afford to be caught up in it. But it's driven. And what happens is people are putting that on credit cards. People are getting loans. People are going out and buying things. The only thing you should be getting a loan for is a home, and in some instances, a car. You should be able to actually, if you're managing your money right, go out and buy cash for a car. No, not cash for a darn Maserati, not cash for a Beamer. You don't need a Maserati or Beamer if you haven't already become independently wealthy. That's the other thing. Blacks spend $2 billion a year on Jordans. We literally have $150,000 median household wealth gap. They are 177, we're 17. And we buy double the amount of Mercedes they buy every year. We double that. We are buying symbolism because it's being promoted as a symbol of success. We need to stop seeing the symbol of success and see the principles of success, the reality and the consequences and results of success. And that's what we should be seeking. And to do that, we need to understand the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset is something that's normally going to, at the very minimum, hold its value. What you want to do is find things that appreciate in value, but at the minimum, hold its value. And then you're going to, in the other thing that qualifies it as an asset, it holds or appreciates in value. Number two, it can be insured. Number three, it can be used as collateral to get a loan when necessary. Now, there are times when you should get a loan, when you're going to use the proceeds of that loan to grow your wealth or take advantage of opportunities that put you in a better financial situation. So in other words, if there's a way to make money and you need more money than you got, that's the time to take the loan, because you're investing by way of borrowing into something that will expand your ability to generate and to hold your wealth. Another thing, because the dollar, and I may be jumping all over the place, but another thing, because the dollar is depreciating in value, and because the dollar is not backed by any type of strong asset like gold, like oil. You got some countries, their currency is backed by their all reserve. You got others backed by gold. That's why there was this big push and absolute hatred for Muammar Gaddafi when he was talking about creating a unified standard of currency for the countries on the continent of Africa, backed by gold. There's a predominance of gold on the continent of Africa. That would create a major problem, definitely for the dollar and even for the euro. So that was a problem with that, and they dealt with that. But that's on a whole nother thing. I don't want to get off into conspiracy theories because that's not why I'm here. But you have to understand. So what happens is when you have a issue like that, another thing you need to understand, if I want to keep it, then I can't stay currency heavy. I can't stay cash heavy. And that's one thing that we like. We've got cash. We want cash. We want, how much do you have in the bank? The bank is just another place to keep your cash. Now they're using it and they're giving you what, 1%, 2% tops on using your money. That poor investment. You could take that same money, put it into an index fund like the S&P 500 Vanguard, and it's producing 8.2 minimum 10% consistently each and every year. You can almost bank on it. It's been doing it for decades, and that you're going to get a better return. Also, it's going to be in a stock. It's going to be in companies. You're talking about an index fund, so it's a passively managed mutual fund of the top, however many. If it's a 300 index, then it's the top 300. It's a 500 index, it's the top 500 companies. And the bottom 100 are always changing out depending on performance. But the top ones are performing consistently. They're always going to be a Fortune 500 company. Well, that means that your money's invested in that. And it's a lot more protected. It's still vulnerable to the market movement. But what you can guarantee on that is if my money's invested in it, then especially in stocks that translate across currencies. So in other words, you want to get into some international stock that you can literally cash out in other currencies. That way you have, you kind of hedged against the devaluation of the dollar. The one thing you don't want is your money sitting in your pocket or in a bank account. Here's why. When the dollar crashes, and it's almost guaranteed at some point, the dollar's going to bottom out. When the U.S. government is amazingly astute and highly competent in being able to rally the dollar in all different types of ways. But eventually, the truth of the value always catches up. That's why you get market corrections. Okay, so at some point, you don't want that under your mattress when it crashes, because that $5,000 under your mattress in your safe, in your bank account, becomes zero. Or whatever the valuation is, it drops. So for instance, mom and them that kept the money under the mattress, that $5,000, $10,000 they kept under the mattress that they put under there in 1960 is probably worth about $400. in what it's capable of buying compared to what it was capable of buying then. The value of the dollar has depreciated so much since then. So what do? You need to have assets that you can put in, invest in, and you want to invest in diversity across assets. Why? That's how you hedge and protect against loss. When you invest in a diverse manner, number one, in real estate, but even in the stock market, you want to invest diverse industries. Why? Because some industries are going to take a hit in situations. uh if you futures, all commodities, all these different things that you can invest in have different economic driving forces, and so one market can take a hit and the other market could be thriving. Then you're going to have the global influences where almost everything is impacted by it, but on a local and national level, you can have something go wrong. For instance, an oil plant could have an accident, explode. You're gonna see prices go up and fluctuate on the retail level, and prices go down and fluctuate on the market level or stock level, and then it all straightens itself out over time. The market is constantly correcting. So when you see it go up, it's correcting because the prices were too low, or the values on the stocks were too low. When you see it go down, that means that there's been movement and manipulation that has caused the value of stock to go up above what they're actually worth, and the market finds a way to correct itself. The bigger the balloon or the bigger the bubble, the greater the correction. And if it's overinflated and it pops, you're going to get a crisis. You're going to get a crash. But it corrects itself. That's why we don't panic when it does. Do you know that the vast majority of millionaires are created from an investment point when the market crashes, when the market is in crisis? Why? Because they're buying stocks that still have value for pennies on the dollar. Why? Because the people who don't understand the market are panicking and selling. I used to always wonder, and that's what got me to really starting to try to understand this whole thing. You know, I used to think, hey, the stock market, that's for those guys over there. Like, nah, wait a minute. But what used to always get me is this is one inquisitive question. I would watch the television, say, okay, these prices are dropping drastically, and there's this big sell-off. I'm like, okay, there's a sell-off. And then my mind goes, who's the dummy buying these stocks where the price is dropping? Well, that dummy happens to be the smart dude. He's the dude, he's called a crisis investor. He's the person that's waiting for something to go on to take stocks that have value, that have longevity. And that's why you do your research. That's how you learn how to read financials. That's how you learn how to read historical performances, performance reviews, and things of that nature. It tells you what this company has done over the years that it's been in existence and how it performs during downturns in the market. And what it tells you is its potential for surviving another downturn. Those are the companies you invest in. You're not trying to go for the home run. Every now and then you invest in the XYZ when it's taken off and you get a bunch of money as it grows and before it stabilizes. Those are people get rich like that too, finding the right startup. That's a great thing if you know how to read that and get in where you're finna get in ahead of the trend, and you can make a lot of money. But the way that you can consistently do it is learn the companies that are consistently performing, get in there, stick it in there, and stay. All that day trading it'll get you rich, but it'll get you broke just as quick. Find the companies that are performing consistently, buy and hold. Are the prices of your stocks going to fluctuate up and down depending upon the market? Yeah, you're not worried about that. You already know, you've done your homework. Now, you do periodical evaluations. If you're not good at it, bring in an expert. Do periodical evaluations to see if there's something you need to be trading out or bringing in, or if you need to hedge it a little different. It's a game you play. You sit up and you evaluate. But I'm telling you, the better work you do on the front end, the less work you've got to do ongoing. You can sit up and say, I'm going to check it every 6 months. Whereas in these people that's day trading, every hour something's going on, they got to get in. They miss something and bam. So the thing again is, how are you protecting what you earn? The thing is, I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And the concept of Rich Dad, Poor Dad was pretty interesting, because the way that he had it titled, The poor dad was his dad, who happened to be the director of education, the director for the board of education for the state of Hawaii. He made $160,000 a year. And you got to think, this is a long time ago. So $160,000 a year is a lot of money. But he was considered the poor dad. Why? Because he was earning money, but it was capped. So 160 was going to be 160. May get a slight raise later, but that was it. Number two, people tend to live at very close to their means. So the average person is literally a month or two from losing their job and being homeless. And I'm oversimplifying it, but that's the reality. His rich dad was somebody who was running at that time was running their business out of their living room. But the mindset that he had eventually turned him into one of the wealthiest people in Hawaii. And the rest is history. But the mindset is, how are you taking what you have and properly, effectively managing it versus trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to prove to everybody what you got by what you wear, by what you drive, by where you live. The thing is, you should be building, and a certain part of that should be designated for the future. A certain part of that isn't even yours. When you're sitting up and you're earning money, a certain part of it isn't yours. A certain part of it belongs to your future, the future of your lineage, your progeny, your offspring. It should be designated. It should be in a trust. It should be set up, and the specific designations of the trust and how it will be executed should be well spelled out so that they understand in order to get it, they have to actually execute their own trust for their progeny. That's how Rockefeller did it. It's unbelievable the way that they move their wealth and protect their wealth compared to how we're squandering our income. And then we sit up and we are complaining about how no. He who is faithful over little things becomes controller and powerful over much. You're going to have to learn how to manage what you have before you are ever going to consistently be able to hold and manage much. If you're going to blow 100, you're going to blow 1,000,000. If you're going to waste 100, you're going to waste 1,000,000. If you are very frugal and specific and careful with 100, chances are you're going to be the same way with 1,000,000. This is why you get 90% of the people who win the lottery somehow finding a way to go broke in record time. And you're going, there's no way a person can blow that. Yes, it can. Because money only amplifies who you are. It doesn't change you. People always say money. No, it doesn't. Money doesn't change you. It simply amplifies who you are. You're now able to show who you are even more. Now, what it will do is bring out the real you. See, when you don't have control over anything, when you can't make any decisions, you'll be surprised at how docile and conforming you are to things you really don't want to do. The moment you get money, people gonna see the real you. It didn't change you. It just exposed you. It just sit up and amplified who you really are. So if you're not the person who is capable of doing the things necessary to grow wealth, you're never going to get it. This is the thing that I consistently try to pass over. It's not about what you can show other people. It's about what you're going to be able to pass down. A wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Now, that's not just about the bequeathment of financial wealth. It's about so much more. An inheritance is a legacy. What you're leaving in your legacy, but a part of your legacy needs to be that your financial path is much easier than mine when I started, because I had you in mind as I moved towards what it is I'm trying to do. It's about saying, I'm going to take some hits and I'm going to go through some lean years so that at some point we never have to do this again. And it's about thinking in a mindset of what am I building and what am I growing? We have a problem with individualism too. We have a problem with a level of selfishness that really hinders how we move. And I'll explain to you what I'm saying. Most of us are only worried about what I got. Now we'll blow the bank for our kids. We'll buy them anything, but we ain't building them nothing. That's the problem. We'll buy them anything. We'll give them our last. We'll sit up and put ourselves in all kind of binds for them. But we're not sitting up building. We're not teaching them, hey, you're going to have to take this hit right now. But let me show you what we're going to do to make sure you don't have to take the hit again. And so what we're doing, that's a teaching moment. That's a principle moment. I'm not only building something for you that I'm setting aside to give you when I leave this place or when you turn a certain age, because I may still be living when that trust kicks in. But and the thing is, we always hear people laughing and making fun of trust fund kids. You should be creating trust fund kids. Because number one is the trust makes sure they don't blow what you left them. Problem is, even when we have a little, we letting our kids blow it before we ever get a chance to pass it on to them. They're blowing it right out of our bank account, out of our pocketbooks, off our credit cards. Because it's about feelings, it's about emotion, it's about feeling like I've arrived. Look what I'm driving. Look what I'm wearing. Look how many trips I took this year. Look at, and don't get me wrong, all of that stuff is cool under proper context. That should be an equation in your head of how your money moves. If I'm taking a trip that costs X amount of dollars, it means I've had to make X amount of dollars and invest X amount of dollars into a mechanism that produces a minimum of 4 times the amount that the trip costs. Equations. When you have those equations, it stops you from making foolish decisions that you got to look back and go, maybe I probably shouldn't have spent that. But it's about mindset. The mindset gets right. Your perspective of things changes. Now the mechanisms that have always been there, guess what? When I go on and I get ready to say I want to purchase a certain amount of Apple stock, Nike stock, certain things like AIG, whatever it is, there's no questionnaire that says, are you Black? Are you male? Are you Christian? Are you Arab? Are you a practice of it? None of that stuff is on there. You transact, you buy, you hold. There's so many things that we can move into that race isn't an issue in. Now, there are a bunch of things that you do. You fill out an application. They've got so many different things. And if you do it online, all the algorithms are going to figure out whether you're Black or not. So yeah, they can figure it out. But there are certain things that they can't. And the thing is, when you operate in a process of unity, this is something else I was literally discussing yesterday, is we have a problem with unifying, coming together and putting our resources together so that we can acquire things that will help us build wealth, which in turn helps us build power. So all of this is, in essence, things that we need to develop and learn. And we go into great detail with that, with legacy wealth. Well, I'm hoping that what I shared with you has really given you something to think about. I hope that you share it with other people. I hope that you sit down and you talk about it. I hope that you research it and read. So much reading goes into I've written 25 books. I read 100 books a year, 100 plus, a minimum of 100. On average, 2 books a week. I'm studying, and that's not including all the research studies I read, all of the papers and everything on all types of studies, to understand that when I get up and I share with somebody, when I'm sitting in front of one of my clients, I want to be as empowered and educated as I possibly can. I want to be as aware as I possibly can on what I need to be saying and telling them to help them. I'm extremely successful in my one-on-one encounters. Why? Because I'm invested. That's a part of my investment. That's a part of my legacy. That person leaves me, and the life they live is a reflection of me, because I poured into them, because I was a directing force. And the feedback that I get from my clients is just so exciting. I just recently reached out to them, and one of the questions I asked was, what is my greatest asset? If I could only do one thing to help people in this world, and I had to put everything else down, what it would be. It said the way the consensus was the consistent way you're able to connect with people where they are without judgment. See what they need, show them what they need, and convince them to move on it. It was said different ways, but ultimately that was what it was. Hey, dude, you come in and you sit up and you helped me see what was going on. You came up with a solution. You helped me figure it out. You never once said I was stupid. You never once said that's crazy. What the hell will you think? All the things that other people have said to me, you never looked at me like something was wrong with me or I was less than you. And that's what I do. And this is one of the things that I am so passionate about. I want to help people in this area. And the thing is, stop thinking money looks the way that they tell you it looks. Real money doesn't show itself the same way. You'll be surprised at some of the people who have millionaire status that you would think, barely making it. Stop saying that. Look for the people who have the knowledge. Listen to people who are teaching. Get under somebody who can tell you what you need to know. That's how you change your life. There's absolutely nothing in this world you can't do a half. The thing is, are you willing to make the changes? Are you willing to make, especially here, are you willing to make the changes here? That's what matters. So on that note, look, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. I really thank you guys for sharing with me. Again, there are some resources in the description box. Whether you want to create an online business, all that stuff's in there, but definitely enroll in the Legacy Wealth Program. This course, again, is a full college course compressed into 6 months. We may have to extend it, but that's the beautiful thing about it. You're not going to be forced out in 6 months. It's set to be administered in 6 months, but you're in it for a lifetime, and you have me as a resource and my team as a resource. I got people that's experts in insurance, experts in drafting and creating trust. All these people are going to be there to help you set up your stuff, and we are not going anywhere. So when you get it, however long it takes you to learn it, we're going to be there for you. This is a lifetime endeavor because we're trying to bring us together to build. So I'm hoping that you'll take it now. I said last week we were going to take it up to 1,500 because in order to get it to where we need to be, we need that just to cover costs. But I'm keeping it at $997 until Friday. But sign up. Sign up. I promise you, we're starting the class at the end of this month. So sign up, and then it'll be one class starting each additional month. That way we have groups operating at least starting at the same place. Obviously, some people are gonna move faster than others, but whatever it is, we've got it set up for you. You're gonna be able to access online. You're gonna have your own. We're gonna have an entire space online for you to engage. You're going to be able to talk to me online in this class. You're going to be able to communicate with other people in the class in this room. So we're really excited about it. Sign up, get on. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I don't eat. I challenge you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day.